निमित्तानि च पश्यामि विपरीतानि केशव न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे.
And, O Keshava, I see inauspicious portents, nor do I see any good in killing our own people at war. See, when the mind gets agitated, when the agitation mounts, you start getting suspicious. That's what's happening now. So you say, Vastu is bad. You build a building, then you say, Vastu is bad, so I cannot shift. It's a height of absurdity. If you are so suspicious, you should have consulted a Vastu expert before you built the building, not afterwards. So all this happens because the mind has taken over. Therefore, you need constant vigilance. It's like security. Now, in India, we don't know what security is. We don't know the spelling of security. You should go to the US. At LA airport, Los Angeles airport. I happened to be there, unfortunately, on that day. At 6 o'clock in the morning, they noticed that one guard was asleep. They did not know for how long he was asleep. So had it been an Indian airport, it would be business as usual. But there, they closed down the entire airport for 3 hours. From 6 to 9, not a single flight landed or took off. And not a single person was allowed to enter the airport or to leave until they checked everything. This is what we mean by constant vigilance. So within our personality, every single thought that is entertained by the mind, every single interaction with the sense objects, anything that goes on must be supervised by the intellect. Only then are you safe. Otherwise, you have no idea what the mind does. It escapes in different ways and it destroys you in the end. And that mind, you are pampering. You're giving in to this. So the mind goes on demanding and it goes to different temptations till it spots a weakness in you and it settles down there. That is the sad plight. See, when you look at drug addicts, when you look at alcoholics, they're wonderful people, most of them. What's gone wrong is the mind has just unfortunately latched on to that weakness. And then till the person dies, doesn't give up. And what is interesting is, in the end, it is the mind that suffers. And it's the mind that suffers all the way. So what you fall for is the persistence, the insistence, the nagging of the mind. It's like a child. They call it pester power. So the first time the child says, Mama, I want this, you're able to handle it. But when the child goes on, Mama, I want. That persistence of the child you give in. So what does the child understand? All I have to do is keep on asking 25 times, then you'll give in. It requires a person of outstanding caliber to first think and then say yes or no. Once you say it, don't budge. Same thing you must do with your own mind. The mind is a child. You see, intellect, that is an adult. And why do you fall? Instant pleasure. You know, when we were kids, there were two brothers of around the same age, very close to each other. One brother was functioning on the mind, innocent. So when chocolates were distributed, both would get equal number of chocolates. Let's say 2 chocolates each. So this one brother who was functioning on the mind would eat both the chocolates and then look at the other brother. The other fellow would hang on to both the chocolates and then tease his brother. See, I have 2 chocolates. And the other fellow would say, but I want. The mother would come and say, but I gave both of you equally. You've eaten your chocolates. Too bad. The other fellow has opted for what we call as deferred gratification. That's the intellect. Let's say today you go home to dinner and there is very tasty samosa. there is salad, and there is Karela, vegetable. Huh? Which of the three do you eat first? Do you eat what you like first, or do you eat what you dislike first, is the question. If you eat the Karela first, then you are functioning on intellect. If you eat the samosa first, gone. Mind. So, with this verse, we enter the next topic where Arjuna reasons wrongly and unfortunately arrives at the wrong conclusion. Now, what happens is, as we said earlier, when the agitations mount, you see adverse omens. You imagine things. It's like Hamlet when he was highly agitated about his father's murder. His uncle murdered his own father and married his mother. So he was terribly, terribly agitated. When he goes to his mother's room, he says, "Don't you see my father's ghost here?" And the mother looks at him and says, mother is innocent, she doesn't know anything. She says, "Hamlet, my dear," she doesn't even look where he's pointing. She looks at him and says, "Hamlet, my dear, you're sick." And that's what it is. You imagine things, you see adverse omens, and then what you see wrongly, you emphatically assert. This is another thing. The most ignorant people are most emphatic about what they say. Regarding health, for instance. If a person has cancer, every Tom, Dick and Harry will go and offer all kinds of advice. And they're not even doctors. So one person will go and say, "You just have to have buttermilk 3 times a day and you'll be fine. Nothing will happen to you." On what basis do you say that? And the most brilliant doctor, you go to him and ask him, "I really don't know, but maybe we can try this." He knows everything, but he's not emphatic because he's fully aware of the fact that there are so many things he doesn't know. 32.